it'll be. Let's see if I can get this thing going to some extent. At least get it debugged. So I'll get my huddle debugged and see where we're at. All right, so I'm trying to pin down what all's going on in some of my code here for the huddle up information. Now, I'm really close to redirecting my efforts. You know, I got some weird setup here. So I've got UI elements in the playbook, available plays. This is UI. I guess this is UI prep, but this is UI prep too, which doesn't have anything in it. Okie dokie. Got some weird stuff going on here. Oh, this utils doesn't have anything in it either. So why is... Yeah, I got some weird stuff going on here. I don't know if I should have the UI stuff inside of the game processing folder. If that's not, if these are empty, I should probably just get rid of them. Just for making sense. All right, well, let's finish getting this huddle thing working. Okay, so the issue is I've got these things that it basically created like fixed speed controller and set target position, which is mostly all of these, right? So all that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of my problems. And then it also has an is moving, which for 7th problem, basically there's like 10 functions here that it created calls to, but did not actually trigger. So what I'm thinking is I want the on huddle complete. I think these are all... Let's clean this up. And then we're going to go... Seems the huddle. You know what? I'm actually going to go... Seems the huddle code created earlier in this thread did not get fully implemented. It's I want to say pop it out, but I can't because the pop out is a blank screen. It won't, and you can't. Apparently, you can't look at the history in a pop out. So I need to see this. Ah, gosh, I need to see my error list while I write this. All right, so seems the huddle code created earlier in this thread did not get fully implemented. There are references to set target position set target positions is set target position is moving on huddle formation complete and on ball placed. And no accessible extension method on ball place accepting a first argument of. Are you missing anything? Seems the huddle code created earlier in this thread did not get fully implemented. There are references to set target position is moving on huddle formation complete and on ball placed that are not defined. Set target position, I presume, is meant to define destination for a given player on the grid. Is moving. I am not sure of its intended purpose. On huddle formation complete would be when the call get next play API call would be made on ball placed would be on ball placed would be when the grid would be reset to x0, y0, center point of the grid, use 5 players positioning. Okay, so I'm handing this back. I did not use agent again. Agent created all this stuff, but I'm not going to use agent for this purpose because at this point I've got a bunch of code and I don't want it I don't want mangling my code. So I'd rather just tell me what needs to be fixed, which is what I'll use ask for. Because this way I can go through, check what it's putting in, determine if it's going to be put in the right place. Agent is pretty good for the purposes of creating brand new code and brand new structures, because I know it's going to be new files and such. But when I actually I've actually tried to have agent add stuff to existing files, and oftentimes it just decides it's not going to. So if I could get this to work, it doesn't mean I'm sticking with 3D. It just means I'm slowly getting my simulation, because right now all it's going to do is move players. In fact, I'm not even totally sure that these players are animating. They might just be, I don't know. I don't even know if there's a pace or a speed or a slider or anything that's got any kind of control over how these players move to the huddle. I just want to see them do it, or at least go to the huddle. Plus, I got to do a prefab create, and I'm thinking, like I said, doing that as a 2D. I don't know yet how to animate a 2D object in my app. But the thing is, the players are so small on the screen. It's I'd rather I don't know that I need to get real fancy with the 2D animation. Cuz really you're talking about guys that are this big on the screen. And yeah, I could try to go through all the trouble of making cool 3D animations, which maybe in time it'll look really cool to do that. But is it necessary? I mean, for my first rendition, I mean, I'd rather see a 3D guy who's kind of big and he sits in his on his cards and looks cool. But at least then you can just do simple things like just have him breathing, turning his head, kind of like just being an animated card. Maybe that could be something that comes as an upgrade. Like it starts off as just a photo of the guy, and then eventually you can I can start adding animations as your card gets upgraded. That might be kind of cool because it gives me a chance to learn to animate guys, at least for their basic motions, and I can slowly start adding them into their card abilities. So yeah, that might be a way to go. Let's see what this did. You'll need a player controller script that handles movement. All right, well, then let's go do it. All right, so let's go create this. Well, it's not doing a model, so that's game processing. Not sure where I want to put that. The game data, game data, is that UI? I guess it is player movement. See, I don't understand why UI is way out here. You need a player control script to handle the movement. Okay, so I guess we'll put it out here. Oh, that's a simulation. Could put it in the simulation because that's what that's for. All right, let's do that. UI sim. All right, let's do that. All right, so we're going to go new file. And we will call it player controller.cs. And then copy that. Each grid unit is one world unit. You may need to adjust this based on your field. Well, it's not one. It's like 2.5. Converts grid coordinates to world position. It's 2.5 is my yards. All right, so I think what else we got here? And I could change that. It might make it, I might in time do that actually. Stop distance, move speed. Stop distance, nice. Move speed, 5. I might have to change that, but all right, so we got that. All right, what else we got? Events for run game class. So the run game are the events, so that's probably going to be the service. So we're going to go game processing. What are the services? Script, score, game. It's not under, game services. It's not in services. Oh, it's under simulator. There we go. All right, so this is the run game. Gonna have run game, blah blah blah, and then we're creating this. Return to huddle. Wait for huddle formation. And get players from team. And then gotta make sure we have the definitions of this stuff. Event. On play complete. Oops. Guess we'll just place that. All right, what else we got? Updated new play method. Where is the new play method? Starts a new game or continues an existing one and moves players to huddle. What? Play the ball in the line of scrimmage, move players to their huddles, wait for huddle information, wait for huddle completion. Remove event handler. Call the API to get the next play, update game state and response, signal play completion. Okay. New play. Okay, how come that didn't find anything? Oh, because this. Right, so we need to replace this guy. I don't know what just happened. I compressed this and then it did whatever it wanted to anyway. I'm not sure what's going on here. This copy paste plan isn't quite cutting it right now. I don't know what's going on, but it refuses to actually do what I want it to. So we're going to have to just delete that, I guess. And then paste it. There we go. There we go. All right. I don't know what that was, but we'll go with that. All right. Move player to grid method. Add this method to move players to specific grid positions during play execution. Now, this might not be how I want to execute this. Find the player by ID in both teams. You'll need to implement player identification. This could be done through a player identifier component. Target player, all players, first player, players. Players will move one grid square forward every time, so that could work. Yeah, maybe I'll use it for now. We'll see how it works. Okay, so we need to implement this. I don't know where we want it, but I would imagine it's part of the run game. But also, it is actually moving the player, so that might actually go in the controller. So let's go ahead and put it in the player controller. That's what that's for, right? Controlling the players. Set target fit. Let's move to position. Move player. Public string player ID. Set the position based on formation. No, that's not going to work. QB, R1, W1, summary. Param name equals position index. Position index 0 to 10. Position number equals position index. You can map this to specific positions based on your formation system. Yeah, it's not really what I want to do. But I have a feeling if I don't, it's going to have trouble. The set position. So it's setting position. Why do I need that? Because it's the position. Yeah, I don't think we need that. Okay. Yeah. Position is not determined in the UI. The position of each player will be provided in the what is it going to be provided in? That's a good question. Where will I provide it? I mean, it will be provided, but I'm trying to determine what in the simulation or simulator, what in Gar's Green simulations is providing this information. All right, well, we got the simulator run game. So probably get next play or run play, which is get next play. Execute route step. Probably don't need that yet. Run play. Okay, so run play controller for full simulation of single play returns a game with the state. Yeah, but we got to create the game first. But the running the play determines who needs to go into the huddle. Get team IDs from game state, which is probably fine. Okay, so cache active players if not already cached for this game. Get available players for this play. Filter out unavailable players for this specific play. Execute the play with selected players and available players. So execute route step. Filter out unavailable players for this specific play. Get available players for play. That's available players, but how does route step know? Let's go see what route step is doing. So route step, go to definition. Create a new play progress log. Track players who become injured in the play. Create error channels to collect errors from Go routines. Create a wait group to wait for both team processing to complete. We'll have 2 Go routines, 1 for each team. Process route assignments for both teams concurrently. Huh. It's wait for the process to complete. Check for errors. Create game state with the play progress log. I'm not sure what this error thing is going to be, but check for errors. Create game state with the play progress log. Last play game state. I guess does this have team player ID, route action, player X grid, ball Y grid, reception, fumble challenge, chance. You know what? I think I need to somehow, I need to come up with a way to assign the players for the play. I have available players, and I know what players are being called. Process team route assignments. So unless process team route assignments is, I don't know where the position of the player is being determined. I have players going out and doing their thing, but unless this in some way is, I mean, where is it assigning their position? Player position. Here we go. Find player with this position using the depth chart. I know if I continues the next position. No players found. No player for this position. No player found for this position. Skip. Hope that never happens. That would be a problem. Nobody's going to come in for tight end. Sorry. Wait, what? Yeah, they're injured or gone. They don't have anybody. No. This isn't going to be, well, it is random, but not random in this sense. It's not this random. Process actions for this player. But I am noticing that I guess it really doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter what their positions are, because I'm going to tell them where they stand. So they may not, it may not even have their position. But I feel like it needs to be in there. I feel like the progress log should log the player's position. I don't know. It just feels like you should be going up against the player. I mean, even if it's a non, I mean, because the game or the play will tell them where to go on the depth chart, because this is their route. Here we're determining who gets to go in the position, but where am I assigning that value? Player position is just used to find who's supposed to be getting this play, and then we're going to execute the step. And once that player has the assignment of the route, we shouldn't be checking every time. So we're going to go through, process each route assignment. So we go through, get the player, find player with this position using this depth chart. So route assignments, are route assignments, oh, it is a play definition. Team play. Play definition has state ID, base play type, formation, created at, route assignment, and play route assignments, play image, but where's the position? I don't know, player position? Huh. it the route assignment that determines? So we have the route assignments that are part of the play. Get player position. It must be in there because that's what this is getting. So whoever that person is, but the thing is, it should be the same player every time. I feel like we need to assign. I think I need to reconsider this. We need to define the entire, because we shouldn't be getting new players every step. So, because what's happening here, it looks, I mean, it's got player position, that's fine, but what's the playbook? So we're in Go. See, we're getting the player position at every, oh no, that's a route. Okay, so no, that's a route assignment. A route assignment for that position. I just don't pass it anywhere. So we're gonna get the position and then process actions for this player. Yeah, yeah, that's not gonna work. This is kind of backwards. See, this is like, it's going to process an entire route for every player at once. What we need to do is process all players by steps, not by routes. That's what's going on here. This is not going to work. This is a broken design. Yep. Yep. This has to be rewritten. Process team route assignments. And it's done by route steps. Yeah. All right, so let's rewrite this a little bit. Let's get this to be restructured. Process team route assignments. All right, so this guy has to be done in a way that's a little different. Is incorrectly written. Plays should be ran for all players, or route assignments. Play route assignments should be generated simultaneously, simultaneously for all players. Or as close as possible. Assigned to a play. Essentially, a play step is equivalent to one grid step for movement and time. So progress log should be made up of made up of up to 22 entries per step, potentially one for each player. Some events will occur at each step along a player route. Blocks, pitches, change of direction. These things can happen either as part of the route or in a game time action when two players come within a predefined distance of thus the true or false return values of many route action functions. If a player is bumped, slips, or otherwise engaged, a move action might not succeed. Other actions, such as hitch or fake, sidestep, might fail if the defender does not bite on the action when they counter each other. When the defender covering does not bite on the action. This is why all players need to advance one step. Let's just say it needs to take a single step action at the same time. Or at least appear to. The progress log will continue to proceed one step at a time until the play ends by way of tackle, sack, interception, or other play ending. Oh. Why all players need to take a single step action at the same time, or at least appear to. The progress log will continue to proceed one step at a time. All players until the play ends by way of tackle, sack, out of bounds, or other play interactions. Okay, so the point of this situation is that right now it's set up to process an entire route for each player. Now, short of having all players do it, but the problem is we need to go one step at a time to allow for rendering, so that we can tell the rendering engine what happens at each step. This will allow things for blocking and other actions to happen throughout the play, like a bump, a hitch, just different little actions that can happen throughout a play that need to be rendered on the UI. And some of them will have different effects and actions along the way. Okay, so now we're going to change this up. This is probably better. So we're going to get the player assigned. Home player assignments, player steps, play active true, current step 1, continue until play ends. Turn nil, player assignment holds a player in their actions, create player assignments. Map players to their route assignments. Step players hold step result, holds the result of a player's actions for one step. Process play step executes one step for all players simultaneously. Execute player step executes one step for a single player. Is play any action, process play interaction, handle player interactions. Wait, is that not everything? Handle player interactions. What are these? Process route assignments, process player interactions. You seem to have overwritten or removed the function list for all my route actions. Please reevaluate your code suggestion with the understanding that the play progress log must be used for the output per the signature of the process team route assignments. Each action will be handled. Each route action will be handled. Did it try to create another function, maybe another page I didn't see? Nope. Each route action will be handled. Each route action and its corresponding result will be provided by the function's response. Please make sure we consider all code for providing any suggested code updates. This is why I don't use agent, because it takes shortcuts. It'll often take shortcuts, even though I have in my notes consider all code. It doesn't consider all code. Even sometimes you even have to tell it to consider code, and even then it doesn't always do it. I apologize for the confusion. Looking at your current process function and the existing route action functions and route action, I can see that the current implementation process players sequentially rather than simultaneously. The issue is that current implementation doesn't simulate the step-by-step nature of football where all players move simultaneously. Here's the corrected approach that preserves all existing route action functions and properly implements step-by-step actions. Okay, let's see if this is a little bit better. So I have execute route step, which, is that even in here? It is. It's probably up here. Execute route step. All right, so let's see what it did. So we got the new play progress log. We got the injury. Process route assignments for both teams using step-by-step simulation. Process simultaneous route actions. Execution. It's changing up the name. Player assignment holds a player and their route actions for step-by-step execution. Okay, well, it's an array of actions, I suppose. Current position on field. I'm a little concerned about how this is lining up, because if it doesn't understand how the play progress log is, or how the plays work, it's like what it's not doing is, it's how do I, for like moving I have to tell it where it's moving to, how it's supposed to advance. I either have to tell it to go to the next square, or I need to tell it to deduce its next square. Like, here's the goal position of where you're headed, right? And it's not going to get a new position until it comes back true. So the idea is that it can't do the next action. Well, that's not going to work. A player can do the next action even if they fail, because like a hitch would still do the next thing. You still have to run your route. But it's a record of whether or not it succeeded. But moving to the next space, so when I think there's gonna have to be two states for a route action. There's complete, which means the entire action is complete, and then there's step success. I think I have to have both a step success and whether or not the action is complete. Because a move could go like 5, 6, 7 squares, but that's going to be 7 steps, right? So that means we have to have each one has a status. Let's go a bit further. I think it might still be a bit off. So here's a better description of how route actions work. A move action will also have a set of x, y coordinates. A step along those coordinates can succeed or fail, depending on hindrances. That may or may not happen. The action is not complete. An action is complete when the player the next action can not occur until the previous one returns a complete state. The next action cannot occur until the previous one returns a complete state. Thus, a move action may take many successes and failures before a player reaches the x, y coordinates and receives a complete result, allowing for the next action to be started. In the event of a failure on a move action, in the event of a in progress result of an action, the same action will be called again for that player. Until it returns complete. And we can move action. So here's part of another question. So when a player is But I say it's a running play, and players run routes. They go out, they go do whatever they're doing. When does a player break off their route? When is it no longer... See, a lot of defensive stuff is game time. They don't really have routes. They may have small routes, or they just move to a particular spot to cover in zone, but once they're there, their route may be complete, and everything then becomes game time actions. Tracing people, covering people, doing what they do to cover a person is just, they just follow that player. Their goal is to, so defense may be the trickier one to calculate, because they've got to go to a certain thing, and then they look for certain players, and I've got to give it AI enough to try to figure out who is it supposed to cover. So this is a thing. I'm always curious how they do this with football games, because you watch a football game, right? And there must be some logic that they use, because they're oftentimes, I think almost all football games are, I think all football games are either one of two things. They're random result logic. In other words, they're not doing what mine is doing, literally playing out every aspect of the game, or they're graphical, as in they program these players to interact with each other on the field, and they've got certain objectives, right? If the player has the ball, all the other players are meant to hone in on that ball, right? So their job is to constantly track where the ball is. So they're either trying to lock onto a player at the start, or once the ball does something like cross the line of scrimmage or get thrown or whatever, their job is to try to hone in on the ball and go tackle and go do whatever. But I think the problem is when you have that UI element, they're basing it literally on objects on the field, and they're following that process. And I wonder if that's what makes some of them play really poorly, because they're just like, it's like magnetism, right? It's like just being drawn to, and then they probably have certain logic in there that says when it gets close enough, do things, dive, jump, grab, tackle, try to hit this thing, right? And so they do these animations that try to, appear that they're doing certain actions. And then they have collision effects that when they hit, they fall down, and it looks cool. It's good, but I wonder if the fact that it's not intelligent movement. So they're just magnetized to that player, and they all kind of draw towards him. And yeah, it kind of works, but at the same time, I wonder if that's why humans are able to defeat it, because of the way it doesn't understand like cutoff. Okay, so I don't know if you've ever seen, oftentimes when somebody is getting chased on a field, the computer's not that smart. It's magnetized to it. So a human who's trying to tackle somebody who's running doesn't run at the player. They run ahead of the player. So they try to cut him off. But you almost never ever see that in a game like Madden, for example. They run at the player like wherever he's at. So when a player is running down the field, the player runs at him, so he's always coming at him, so they always end up like this. And then when they get close enough, they once they're parallel to him, they just try to chase him down, which of course results in a lot of bad plays, because the player doesn't get to cut him off sooner. Now if this guy really knew he was not able to keep up, he would try to time his logic, and the math would say don't go at the player, go ahead of the player. But that's not magnetized, and graphical UIs are magnetized. They don't know how to lead the person. So if you ever look at a Madden game, you'll see that players always run straight at him and they always come up behind. You almost never see a player get cut off. The only time you get cut off is when the player's already in front of you and then they come at you, right? So they are also curving straight at you and they might come at you. They almost always hit you from the side unless they're directly in front of you and they're ready for you. They don't need to chase you. But in all cases, they run at. So a person running straight down the field at this guy's even not smart enough. He should be going straight at his front and then cut him off. But that's not how it works. They run at the player no matter where he's at. So almost always hit from the side because by the time they get there, they're coming, they're already kind of getting behind. And if that player's fast, well, this player has to get in behind him because he's already too late. So it results in kind of weird results. And this is what I've seen on most Madden games. They don't know how to predict, or they don't program it to predict, or maybe it can't. I don't know. Maybe there's not a way. There should be a way to calculate in there. Well, if this guy's slower, he should know to lead. There should be some kind of logic that says, try to cut him off. But I don't know how you would program that. Yeah, you could do some math, but that also says the player knows he's slower, right? The goal should always be to try to cut off, and I'm going to try to put logic in my code. I'm going to try to put logic in my code that does that, but can I? I don't know how. I'm not using magnetism. I'm not using objects that say close in on this object, and that's how Unity and these other applications are written. They're written with the idea of magnetism, not real magnetism, but it just says move towards, go at the ball, find the ball, and when you get there, smack, collide with the guy, jump at the guy, dive at the guy, do whatever you can, but take him down. Whatever that logic is, and you're trying to create those collision physics to allow for that player to go down, and then you put whatever conditions in this, and maybe he doesn't go down or whatever, but that kind of logic is, I think it's flawed. And I don't think that's the only reason why people always win at Madden. I just think once you get good at it, you start to take advantage of those flaws. Thus, the logic of AI games is better because both sides are just as dumb. That's really what happens, right? They are kind of equally dumb. Now, at a distance, it would look like one guy might be trying to cut him off. He'd be running, and he'll be going. I think it's almost always going to look like that. It's always going to be a curve. A good game should always be a straight line, but I don't know how smart AIs are. I guess I'd have to look, but I do know that in most of the games I've seen, players always catch up. They never cut off. They almost never cut off. Now, yeah, sometimes they can't. It's a long distance, and typically, if you have to run 50 yards across the field, and the other guy has to run 50 yards to the end zone, the math says 50 and 50. If they're the same speed, there's no way he catches him, right? Because it's the same distance, unless that guy's faster. But he's going to still try. He's going to run all the way to the corner, but they're only going to end up meeting at the goalpost or whatever. At the pylon. No, wait, let's keep going here. So I had to get it to rewrite, or I'm going to get it to rewrite here. So here's a better description of how route actions work. A move action will also have a set of XY coordinates. A step along those coordinates can succeed or fail depending on hindrances that may or may not happen. The next action cannot occur until the previous one returns a complete state. Thus, a move action may take many successes and failures before a player reaches the XY coordinates and receives a complete result, allowing for the next action to be started. In the event of in-progress result of an action, the same action will be called again for that player until it returns complete and he can move to the next action. See, this is where I stopped to wonder. There are times when a player will stop doing what his whole route was intended to do. Like he may have to change to a block if the play is no longer in progress. So if certain events occur, it may trigger a change in play response by a player. So it's kind of like if ball was passed or handed off or something like that, the player has to make a change of plans. Maybe some players may still run their route because it's meant to pull the receiver or pull the defender away, or they may attempt to block. As soon as maybe if their defender decides to adjust, they might go, okay, well, I'm going to block now because the play's been handed off. So it's a matter of trying to determine how that happens. And that's kind of, I'm right in how I wrote this. I just need to know how I break. I'm going to have, at some point, I'm going to have to set up a break that says, okay, get out of the route action. You've got other things to do now. You can go do your game time actions. And I don't know how to spell description apparently because I spell it with three I's rather than two. I don't know why I keep yawning in the evenings. And yes, I'm tired, but I'm not that tired. I'm not yawny tired. Let's go turn on some music. Let's see here. Nope, 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 nope. Nope, nope, I guess it's none of these. Let's close that. And try again. Is it this one? So I was looking at ways, I'm trying to find a community, actually, to be honest, that I can talk to. Wait, isn't that the one I just closed? Oh, yeah, I was trying to do this. Uses, wait, what was it? What was I replying? I'm trying to, like I say, I'm trying to do some community outreach. Trying to find people who are able to give comments and want to look at the code and look at the application. Now, actual game simulation. I don't have football manager, so probably not as co-working. They do have a much larger team and 15 years of development. Or it's more like 20 plus years of dev time. 20 plus years of dev time. 20 plus years of dev progress. Is it their corner? I don't know how to spell there. In their corner. But we'll have decent depth and many features similar. take a couple of generations. For anyone to stop by my YouTube channel and check out my progress, whatever feedback on the route I'm taking. I would love for anyone to give anyone to stop by my YouTube channel. I know, I'm selling myself on here, and they're probably just going to say, take a hike, buddy. And check out my progress and get whatever feedback on the how I am taking. And whatever feedback and or suggestions in that. Okay, so let's see how this. What do you think? I am currently on month 7 of developing such a game for football, not soccer, that uses an actual game simulation like that of Football Manager, though probably not as cool looking. They do have a much larger team in 10 plus years, or 20. Try 20 plus years. Jeez. Any features similar, though I expect it may take a couple of generations of the game to get to a similar level. I would love for anyone to stop by my YouTube channel and check out my progress and give whatever feedback and or suggestions on the game that you might have. Community feedback is the best way for me to know if I am headed in a good direction. Says I cannot promise all suggestions will be taken. I do have to keep a lid on cooking. I don't know that anybody's going to stop by, and for all I know, they're going to shut me down. You know what? I keep changing my ID. I have updated this like 1,000 times, and it says Active Mind Gamer, but for some reason it always says Admiral Simple. What the heck is this? How do I fix that? Why does anybody know how Reddit works? I don't understand how to change. I don't know how that works. See, all these people have like actual names. Mine is dumb. I don't get it. How is this? I don't understand, man. Anybody? I don't like it. It's stupid. Maybe you have to use a generic one because, look, I'm using Tazion as my login. Where is that Admiral Simple thing? Display name. It says display name, Active Mind Gamer, but why does it show Admiral Simple? I don't get it. Is there something to do with this thing? Huh. I don't know. I set my Reddit username, but it still shows a weird default name. You might have created multiple Reddit accounts, possibly without realizing it. If you signed up for using Google or Apple ID, it can automatically create a new account with default username according to Reddit help. You can't change your username on Reddit, but you can change your display name, which is what appears when someone clicks on your profile. If you have a multiple account, check your avatar drop-down in the upper right corner of the Reddit page. You can also try logging in with your username and password for your existing account. Maybe that's what I needed. Maybe I need to delete my account and create a new account. So I'm obviously not the only one with this. Your posts and comments will only show your username, which can't be edited as it's fixed once you create your account. Your display name can be edited, but holds on no. You have the word helper under your name. How did you do that? You receive it based on your karma. So essentially, people are stuck with random and made in obnoxious format ID plus number or year name. Yeah, this is probably the most insane and deceptive design plan I've ever seen. It's almost so glaringly deceptive to not be on purpose. Let's test something between username and display name. Which one would likely be the one a user on the account page or something, and which one is for display on your comments? You'd think half a second of thought would make it obvious, but that was clearly way too long during development, and no point ever did a second person proofread or do anything like that. Thank you for making me feel validated in this minute but infuriated detail. I look like a bot, and on top of that, what kind of social platform doesn't make such a thing interchangeable? Despite my politeness on the subject matter, I was also greeted with a level of sarcasm which would imply that the damn thing was blatantly obvious. Yeah, so yeah, it's not me. Apparently everybody's got stupid names. Or not everybody, but a lot of people have stupid names. Deleted 2 years ago. It is? I'm looking at it right here. Don't look deleted to me. So essentially, I mean, if I were to go click on my profile here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have all of seven comments on here. That's it. That's my entire. That's a stupid thing. I'm gonna take this thing out. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna. Oh, can I not even copy my thing? It's a link. Nobody's probably gonna respond to this thing, but if they respond to it, great. But I don't think anybody's gonna respond. I gotta record this. Okay. I'm gonna delete my account. How do I do that? So I could disconnect. So, all right, let's do this. Delete account, continue. Ah, okay, so maybe this is more work than it's worth. It's distracting me too long. I'm like, told you, you're going to get derailed with me. Sometimes I do let myself get derailed, which is not always good. In fact, oftentimes probably is not. I would fully expect. Group messages, save emails, share an email to teams, category manager for delegates, backup. Okay, got it. Whatever. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, nope, nope. Mm-hmm. Ugh. I want to get rid of my stupid account name. It's kind of funny how you have. How long does it take people generally to reply to a? This is dumb. People, there's, yeah. Fine, I'll leave it. It's gonna irritate me though. One of these days, I'm gonna dump it. So one day soon, I will delete my my Reddit account and try to build a new one that lets me use my actual username. What I'm a little afraid of though is that, like with a lot of these things, if you delete your account, you can't like use that user ID again, or you can't use it for like 6 months or 3 months or whatever, because it's like, oh, that one's somebody's holding that because, you know, whatever, even though it was you trying to create your account. All right, so let's do this. And I never actually told the system that because I decided that now because I didn't even think about why that would be necessary. Because in my head, I'm like, well, we'll just repeat the thing until it succeeds. But I can't, I have to have each step can be success or failure because things can hinder a player, but it doesn't mean that they finish their route. So it doesn't mean that they're done. It just means that they've got to continue onward. Like they failed to make the step so that they did not move forward. So they basically have to keep trying to move forward. So things like, I think like with the move, it's going to have to return what their current XY position is. Because if they fail, it'll be the same. If they succeed, it'll change by a square. All right, let's see how we got this. All right, so we have create player action states for all assignment players. Step count, 0. Max steps. Safety limit to prevent infinite loops. Is that reasonable? 2.5 yards. Yeah, I guess that's reasonable. I mean, 100 steps would be a lot of steps. Because if they cover 100 yards, that's 250 yards. We're not going to do that. And even if you take a bunch of those out as actions, they won't. Plus, the routes themselves don't have that many things going on in them. The routes will end. But play progress log could have multiple steps. There could be other types of actions that go on in there. But those would just be replacements for the route steps. Or for the route log or log information. The routes or play ends. Step count. Execute 1 step for all players simultaneously. Check if play should continue. Yeah, that's good. Process any player interaction or play ending conditions. This probably won't happen here, but I can probably work with that. Because player interactions would probably be as a result of the actual execution of the step. Create player action states. Create player action states. Maps players to the route assignments and initializes their state. See how it does this. Okay, so player going to map their states, available player IDs, team ID, F-link players greater than 0. Route assignment. Player position, player error. Unavailable player IDs equals true. Player states. Get actions. Player actions. Route assignment, get actions. Start at line of scrimmage. No. No, we don't start at the line of scrimmage. Workspace. Still needs some work. You are on the right track, but I see you have current position. Start at line of scrimmage. Do I even care about that? I could just delete that, because that's not true. But that also assumes the wrong grid coordinates, so I probably have to adjust this. X 0, Y 0 is where the ball sits on any given play. The first action of every player player's route actions is lineup, which has their routes starting XY position in relation to the ball. Not every player starts on the line of scrimmage. Still needs some work. You are on the right track, but I see you have a current position start at line of scrimmage. X is where the ball starts at line of scrimmage. X0, Y0 is where the ball sits on any given play. The first action of every player's route actions is lineup, which has their routes. I don't think the computer cares about hyphens in relation to the ball. Not every player starts at the line of scrimmage. Each action that contains a move type action, such as motion, move, lineup, etc., will return that player's new current position as part of their log, progress log entry. The progress log entry. Player's new current position is part of their progress log entry. Execute player step. If current action is not complete, continue executing it. Continue current action continues executing the current action until complete. Start next action begins the next action for a player. Parse action coordinates extracts coordinates from route action. So the progress log actually has player X grid position and player Y grid position. Hey Kurama23, how you doing, man? Haven't seen you in a bit. It's been It's been a short time, man. Of course, we had a long weekend, right? So, or at least we did. At least over here on my side of the world. I assume that you're not from the U.S. I'm doing good. Just trying to make some progress here. Trying to figure out, get this game to. Hey, give me your opinion, man. So I'm thinking of going 2D instead of going 3D on that game, because I think it's more important to get the game functional and working and looking good. But it could take months and months of work to get all the 3D animations and motions and modeling done. And I'm thinking I don't want to wait that long. I'm thinking that could be updates and upgrades at a later time. If I go 2D, I think I could possibly get that done in a much faster time frame. And I think it'd be easier to get different characters into the game. It's like my original plan is to have different species in the game. Like all these half human characters. We got the lizards and the lions, literal lions, and we have the crab bats and all of the other characters that are in this game, buck rays, and I think I could do those images a lot quicker, and thus possibly with 2D animations I could possibly get them going a lot quicker because they don't require as much processing power. And on a football field, players are this big. And even if they're on a big computer screen, they're this big. I mean, they're small, right? I mean, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of things happening on the screen. So, I mean, the 3D players would look cool, no doubt, but for the amount of effort and work to get that done, I mean, for a single developer, that might be better for a later upgrade. Did you know Football Manager, which is not, it's soccer manager, but it's called Football Manager, which is like, apparently it is the, what do they call it? It's the bar that's set the what is it? The end all and be all of manager games, sports manager games. So if you ever want to see apparently the one game everybody compares to, oh man, Football Manager is the best simulation game. If only they did a football or a American football or basketball or something that was like that. And if that's a thing to the bar to be compared against, the gold standard is what I was looking for. It does a simulation, but their first versions were dots. They just moved dots around on the screen. So I'm going to be better than dots. Either way, I'm doing better than dots. I thought about doing pixel art, but honestly, I don't want to do pixel art. That's just a little too. I mean, that's like too old school for me. I don't think I could get into watching a pixel art game. I want something that I can kind of look at and it's kind of visually appealing. That's my goal. I don't know. But I still think 2D is easier. I was looking at, I was trying to look up what I don't know what any of your emojis are, man. All I see are you putting random letters on the screen. All I see is N.N, XDD, XDDDD, N.N, T.T, T.T. I don't know what any of that is. I was actually trying to look it up to see if there's some, I don't know, my Twitch does not show what those are. Restream doesn't show what those are. I don't know what that is, man. But I do see that you want to learn to program C. C? Why C? Does anybody program in C anymore? You mean C++? I don't know anybody who programs in C anymore. I mean, I don't even know what's pro. I mean, I know people do program in C still. I don't know what it's used for or where or why, or I don't know anything about C. Now, unless you're not saying C and colon C is another emoji. You did type colon C, so maybe that's an emoji that you're just like a sad face or something. I don't know what that is. You just want to learn to program. And if it's just want to learn to program, do it. I mean, use AI and learn, man. I mean, I've never programmed in Go before, and I'm programming in Go. Python's good. A lot of people do Python. That's a common, it's a popular language. See, this way, I was using Agent before, and since I'm now actually asking it to tweak stuff, um, so yeah, you're, okay. I don't even know how to acknowledge that. You must be using some weird interface. I don't know, some odd Twitch interface or third-party Twitch tool, because it's your emojis or whatever those are not coming through. I know, but I don't know what that is. I know you like to use them, but I don't see anything. All I see is N.N, and that doesn't show anything. So I don't know why the Twitch app is not showing me what it is. It just shows T.T, N.N. Yeah, just they don't come through at all. I don't know why. It could be that it's not getting well, no, because if it was going in through Twitch, it would come out through Twitch. I was thinking maybe it was Restream's fault, but Restream's not the one. Now, Restream does send it over to YouTube for me because both sides get to see it, but um, Twitch doesn't know what that is. I don't know why it doesn't. Everybody's different, man. Depends on what you're doing. I think the fastest way to learn is to do something, to actually program something you want to program, but it's hard with classes because classes, they make you program what they want you to program. So you just got to kind of get excited about what it is and just absorb what you're learning. But it depends. I mean, you could probably be serviceable in a few months. I mean, you could actually do work. But it's not a matter of how long it takes you. It's how long it takes to get enough experience to get a job. That's the trick. Because really it comes down to experience. Jobs don't care how good you are unless you've got years of experience. Nowadays, every company out there could care less how good you are at a task. Unless, well, not true. They will test you. And all they care about is how good you are at testing. So if you're good at testing in code, doesn't really matter how good you are at programming, I guess. If you can take a test from Microsoft or Amazon and pass their test, that's all that matters. You're golden. So if you're a good test taker, if somebody told you, write a binary tree, slice up this array, whatever other nonsensical thing that they want you to do, and if you're able to do that, then you are golden. You can probably get a job anywhere. Just test well. I don't test well with those kind of tests. I don't like them. I think they're silly. And it's like they either want a good programmer who can figure out how to solve problems and get it done, or they want somebody who can take stupid tests. And under the microscope of somebody looking over your shoulder and critiquing everything you do. So yeah, that's just not me, and I don't know how to deal with that. I just got fed up with it. Part of the that's probably partly why I'm unemployed still, because I couldn't get past these dumb companies' tests. I got asked for interviews and stuff, right? It's a number of companies, and I tried, but apparently I'm not good enough at taking tests. I don't know. Which is just silly, because I know I'm good enough at programming. Don't get me started, man. But so anyway, so how long it'll take you is really just a matter of you and your ability to take good tests. Honestly, I'm not terribly fond of any of this. I don't think it's doing a great job of putting this together. And this is Claude. It's supposed to be good. Should we try action? Nope, doesn't need multiple attempts. Pass rush might need multiple attempts. Blitz might need multiple attempts. That's true, blitz. Huh. Should continue play determines if the play should continue based on player states. Is play ending failure determined if a failed action ends the play. Process step interaction chain handles interactions between players. Get latest entries. Okay, what happened to all my individual function calls? I want to handle these as per function, but I don't see. Is it like trying to overwrite my ideas of running one function at a time? I don't see any of these. What did it do with all my function calls? I mean, I see that it's trying to process certain things, but the problem is it's not going to allow me to encapsulate my own actions. I don't like it. Handle player proximity. I'll also need to add methods to play progress log to get the latest entries. Yeah, there's something weird about this. I don't know. I don't know if I like the way this is being written. I feel like it's taking a wrong tact, and I don't like it. Claude Sonnet 4. I think you are barking up the wrong tree, my friend. You've totally rewrote my stratagem, and I don't like it. I don't necessarily agree. Sometimes I agree. I like the way it does stuff. This is not one of those times. This is... because I want to be able to handle every type of action. All right, so I'm sorry, Claude. I think I'm going to dump you. You're fired. I'm going back to Claude Sonnet. Let's go to Claude Sonnet Thinking. Let's see if Claude Sonnet Thinking can figure this out. It's just... I feel like it way overcomplicated the task. All right. So maybe it's my fault. It's possible I asked it to run. Maybe the way I worded my statement, I overcomplicated it. But okay. Let me see if I can reword this in a way that... Can you rework this? Rework execute route step. To is it execute route step? Process team route assignments. Process team route assignments. Execute, can you rework execute route step? And process team route assignments. To run every player one step, which is equivalent one step per player. To run every player one step per player. To run every player simultaneously one step, or per the play progress log entry, one step number. Gosh dang it. One step number. every route action will be called on repeat until the action returns a complete result. With every repeated call being made and at the next step number increment. Rework, execute route step, and process team route assignments to run every player simultaneously one step, or per the play progress log entry one step number, every one step number. Every route action will be called on repeat until the action returns a complete result, with every repeated call being made at the next step number increment. So it should be up to 22. There should be N.N to you too, man. Right back at you. Should I pronounce that somehow? So I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question so that this thing doesn't try to overcomplicate things. I just wanted to reconfigure these functions because they're right now. The problem is, see, I have all these functions and these are all going to take, there's certain things that are going to happen when they're called. So I do need to call these at every step. So basically there will be these calls on every single player. Well, not every one of them, but some of them will get called based on their action type. So there should be 22. I think, honestly, there should be 22 actions. Some will just say maybe they don't have an action for a certain point, but they still get called. You know, maybe they could actually be a test. You know, it's like say if a player goes in motion. Some defensive players may have to respond to that, so they should be given a chance to respond to that. So their actions. So probably every player will get an action at every point. So if one player moves, everybody moves. But some moves are non-moves. They're like tests to see if they jump or if some action occurs, which would probably be good. So there should be 22 entries for the play progress log at every step. Now some players their job may be just to cover, and in which case if it's a motion action, maybe, you know what, I think I may have to say, you know, has the ball been snapped? kind of thing. You know, I may have to have some extras. So there should be 22 entries for the play progress log at every step. Because some actions might happen before the ball, and we need to know if the ball has been snapped yet. That's true. So there should be 22 entries for the play progress log at every step. First step will always be first route action will always be lineup, which will tell players which will provide the player X position and player Y position in relation to the ball. Our ball is at coordinate x 0, y 0. Every step who's they? People on other channels? or AI? Some people who are actually really fast coders. There are people who code really fast. I think sometimes when they're doing their, I think some of these YouTubers, when they're doing their videos, I think they put it on fast forward. In other words, they're not really coding quite that fast. Some of these people talk so fast. I feel like they sped up their code. They're sped up their talk. They don't really talk that fast, but they're speeding up their thing to like 1.5 times. So they're like, so instead of being 60 words a minute, they're doing 90 words a minute, and they're talking that fast, and you're like, I can't keep up with you. You're bouncing around like crazy. It's not that they're that fast. It's just that they sped up their code. Because with YouTube, you can speed up your code or speed up your video, so it looks like you're going really fast. A route action function. So here's kind of a thing too. I got to decide plays don't always end during a route action. I almost feel like the transition between running game time actions and route actions. Route actions are assigned actions for players. These are the things that they're going to do, like run a route, or go in motion, or block, or do whatever. Then there's game time actions, which are in response to whatever's been done. Defensive players are often doing just game time actions. Covering, which means they don't know exactly where they're going because they're following the offensive player. There could be tackles, which are game time actions. You just do it when you get to the guy with the ball. Or, a QB may be assigned to pass. That's their thing, but everybody else is doing game time actions to try to catch them. Things to respond to, try to get to the quarterback. There's no particular route, but they've got an assignment to try to get to. There's trying to come up with a transition, which I'm actually trying to decide if there's really a transition to be had, because some of this stuff all happens simultaneously. So shouldn't they just all be actions. We got route actions and we have game time actions, but truthfully, they're all just actions that go on in the game. And at certain points, players will transition to other actions, but it doesn't necessarily preclude them doing what they were doing. You know, maybe if they finish, they go like action scout here. You see my function scout. This is a transition to a game time action. They are done with their route. Once you hit scout, it's like the last action in a route. It just means go find an open spot. So if their action is now scout, they're now looking for an open spot. So when they're saying scout, it's just going to keep calling scout until the play ends. It's a end of action type thing. But if a ball is passed, well, the guy's not going to scout anymore, so he might swap over to block. You know, if the ball is no longer going to be thrown to him at this point, it's time for him to go do what he's got to do. Go block for his player, or make the catch, or do whatever a player does. So at that point, you're switching over to a game time action. The routes don't have catching as an action. But if the ball's thrown to you, well, that's when you transition. You're now becoming a game time action, which is catch the ball, or defend the ball, or tackle the ball, or run with the ball, or whatever you're going to do with the ball at that point. Those become game time actions, things that are unassigned to you, but as soon as you get the ball, that's what you do. And so there's a transition point. And it doesn't necessarily end the route for everybody. Some guys might have to continue blocking or doing whatever. I know how that goes, man. Sometimes you do that. It's kind of like people with jobs they don't like. They complain about it, but they're not going to leave until they either retire or they get another job. You know, they're going to be smart about it, and that's the way to do it, man. You just got to push through. At least with university, you know it isn't lasting forever, right? You know there's an end of the line. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. So, you know, keep it up, man. You can always see the end with that. In relation to the ball, where ball is at coordinate x0, y0, every step calls a route action function. And it will repeatedly call the same function until that function returns success or complete. No. Until that function returns complete. Oh wait, every route action will be called on repeat until the action returns a complete result, with every repeated call being made at the next step number increment. So there should be 22 entries for the play progress log at every step. First route action will always be lineup, which will provide the player with exposition in relation to where the ball is coordinate x, y, 0. Oops, I guess that's a repeated statement. Each route action will update the provided play progress log variable parameter with its results, and should also return a Boolean value for if that action is complete request team route assignment can call the next action in their route during the next step. Copilot is AI. That's what it is. It's AI. Right now I'm using the Claude 3.7 Sonnet AI engine. There is a bunch of them. You can actually click on this and go, there's 3.5, 3.7, 4. You can use Gemini, ChatGPT. They don't have the 4.5 in here though. Probably because it's not really a programming one. Yes, it works with Visual Studio Code, but like I use like my Unity. I do my Unity coding in Visual Studio, and so this is the Copilot here. So this is Copilot in Visual Studio. And this one doesn't have quite as many options. You can see it has GPT 4.1, 4.0, and Sonnet 3.7. They don't have Sonnet 4 yet, and they don't have Gemini or anything like that. So it's a little bit less. I prefer to use it in Visual Studio personally. But if you get Copilot, there is some free usage. It's not unlimited, but you do get some free usage. It's like 50, I want to say 50 uses a month, something like that. It's really not very high. I don't know if it's 50, it might be 100, I don't know, but it's a fixed amount for a month for free. But if you pay, the smallest, lowest level one gives you pretty much unlimited regular inquiries, like you're just asking questions or getting or using the code. Agent usage could take more, I think, but ultimately, it's a pretty good deal. It's only like, I don't know, like a little over $100 for a whole year, so like $12 a month. That's not too bad for unlimited use, because when you think about ChatGPT and Sonnet are like $20 a month, which is unending, and it's a lot more, right? That's like $240 a year, so that's quite a bit. And you don't get unlimited. Even at that, it's not unlimited. It's like you get a lot of requests, but you don't get unlimited. See, and as if you're trying to code an app like I am, having a limited requests can be really, really hindering. Some days I'll only use it a little bit, but other days I use it a lot. And those days that I'm using it a lot, I'm glad it's unlimited. I've hit my limit with ChatGPT a couple times. Today I hit it in like 2 questions because I had it doing an analysis of my code, and apparently it has very limited analysis range for free. But then I asked it to do it in Copilot, and it did it the whole thing. So that was pretty good. All right, let's see what it did. All right, so this looks like it's going to be more what I want. All right, let's see what it did. What are we looking at for time? Oh, 9:40, getting close to the end of my day. All right, so we have execute route step. We're going to go create a game state to store the results. Really? Why are we storing it? What does this return? Oh, it's returning. Oh, so we're gonna. Why don't we just? I don't know. Whatever. I guess that works. It's doing a little different. It's creating the. play progress log. Why don't we just use the play progress log and then add it to the game state later? Weird. Okay, so anyway, we have injured players. Track the current action index for each player. Player, team player, route assignments, current action index is complete. Okay, well, fine. We'll do that. This looks fine to me. Initialize player states for both players, both teams. Map players to their positions based on their players' route assignments. I have a feeling this is going to be a thing because AIs. I'm going to end up having to rewrite a lot of this, but I just want to get me on the right path for each one. Map players to their positions based on their players' route assignments. Okay, that's fine. We'll go with that. Process steps until all players have completed their actions. So we're doing this a little bit different. For all actions, oh, they really rewrote that. All right, let's see what it is. Initialize player states. Process step for all players. I don't know. So we're going to do is we're processing steps. So if it's not calling, execute the action, check if it's complete. Execute route action. Did it write a new route action function? Is there some other way that this is happening? See, I have this whole methods of action ID, but how does it? I don't see where it's allowing for that to happen anymore because it deleted. Process step for all players. All players. Add this steps log to the game. Process step for all players. Process each player in parallel. Blah, 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 blah. Add player action state. Check for random injury. Get the current action for this player. I don't know why we have to check for injuries in the middle of a play. Guys down, we'll find out about it later. Set target point of coordinate for provided. If coordinates are provided, create a log entry with the current step number. Execute the action and check if it's complete. Execute route action. Where is this function? Is there something I don't know? I mean, where is this execute route action? The execute route action function in your code will be used to dispatch the appropriate action implementation. Each action function should update the play progress log and return a boolean. Ah, it did it to me again. I see what happened. It didn't look at my code. I mean, it kind of, sort of, in a way did, but... So, execute route action is replacing the process team route assignments in my existing code. And that function is how route action functions are currently defined. Did you change the name of the function? plan for function in relation to my existing code. See, I don't like to put in the AI's solution unless I feel like the AI solution is complete, because I don't want it breaking stuff. I do not want to put, I don't even think I have an execute route actions. Your existing would be replaced with two new functions. Initialize player states sets up initial state for all players based on route assignments. Your existing route action function in routeactions.go remain the same, but they need to be modified to include logic to determine when an action is complete. Potentially update their implementation and step-by-step execution. The key difference is that new implementation iterates through steps while you're... That's... Oh. So my routeactions.go has a execute route actions? It does? I don't know where that is. Did it say in my routeactions.go? Routeactions.go. So is there a execute route actions in here somewhere? Oh, check that out. Execute route action. Why is it at the bottom? All my functions there, and then I have this. Huh. Okay. Oh, then let's try it, because I don't like having duplicated data. Or duplicated code, that's for sure. I didn't realize that that was done that way. I don't know how I missed that. I probably shouldn't simply execute route step. That's getting replaced. This is dumb. That's all going away. I should have something like that working. I gotta come up with a... Alright. Still a few bugaboos, but... let's see, this is player state tracking. Each player has a state object that tracks their current action index and completion status. All players execute one step at a time with the same step number. Parallel processing. Each player's action is processed in a separate Go routine to maximize performance. That works, because it should all go on at the same time, technically. Completion logic. Each action returns whether it's complete, and players move to their next action only when the current one is complete. Progress logging. Each step generates an entry in the play progress log for each player. The execute route action function in your code will be used to dispatch the appropriate action implementation. With this implementation, the game simulation progress will be step by step with all 22 players on the field moving simultaneously according to their assignment routes and actions. So, a character with like blitz or I don't know what it's called when a player tries to fake a blitz or show blitz. I think it's called show blitz. Show blitz is something you do before the line. So you're like coming at them like you're getting ready to cut. You're making them think that maybe you're gonna blitz. Show blitz doesn't mean you're gonna blitz. You might actually drop into coverage, but they don't know that. Typically, it's a person who's gonna blitz will show blitz regardless, because basically it means you're kind of getting in that I'm getting ready to jump the line kind of state. Whereas show blitz is like I'm getting ready to jump the line, but you don't. When the ball jumps, you actually run back or you go and you drop into coverage. There's also don't show blitz when you are going to blitz. But I don't think a lot of players like to do that because it means you have to kind of sit back like you're not going to go in. And then you go in. It's like a I don't know, a hesitation blitz. You're hoping to, it takes a second. You take like, a half a second or a second to make your move on the quarterback. Just to make them think you're not blitzing, but then all of a sudden you come in and the blockers aren't ready for you because they don't see you coming in. Typically, if somebody's showing blitz, you kind of have to keep an eye on them just in case, so you're ready for that show of if they should happen to make that move towards blitzing you. All right, where's the squiggly line here? There's a squiggly line problem. Oh no, wait, it's way down here. I always get these confused, the things on the left versus things on the right. So I think you are missing a definition for player action state. Because I see that that's causing my code to have a lot of issues because a lot of things are looking for player action state. So as you can see, I didn't quite get to the huddle still because I'm trying to get my code to acknowledge how it's going to come back. And so I keep looking at the front, and the front's looking for code that's coming from the back, and the back's like looking how it's going to pass to the front. And then I keep saying, hey, these things don't work. I got to go back and fix them. What does it mean to package level? Run play. So wait, is player action state? Where's player action state? Player action state. Player action state. Oh. That's not it. That's not it. Nope. Nope. Oh, it did put it here. Why did you put it here? You doodlehead. Why'd you gotta pass it around? Now what? Now we're good. That fixed everything. That fixed everything. The whole world is a better place now, everybody. By golly gee willikers. All right. We got to work it. Well, we've got it all compiling again. So essentially what I did here is the execute route step called a function that was a different name, but it was actually trying to process every player one route at a time. So it would go like both offense and defense would go at the same time, but it would be any one player and they do their entire route. So it would look pretty silly on the field for two guys to run and do their whole route, and then another two guys do their route, another two guys do their route, another two guys do their route, because it was doing the two teams, and it would constantly be picking the two teams, and it wasn't doing them one step at a time. It would do the entire route. So if one guy had 3 steps, 3 things in his route, and another guy had 5 steps in his route, it would just look funky. It would one guy would be like step, 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 step. One guy would be done in like 3 turns, and one guy would be like that. It was all screwed up. because it didn't understand how I was processing this. Everybody moves one step or action at a time. So basically it'll look like everybody's moving at the same time. What this means is now when you go, it's like everybody moves one. It's going to be stepular, and everybody's going to do it. So there'll be 22 players that all move one step or action at a time. And those actions could be small things like a hitch, a catch, a pass, a tackle, a blah, 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 until something happens that ends the play and everybody stops. So I needed to come up with something that kept them all moving together and everybody moves at the same time. And it had written it wrong, like I said, so I had to get it to reorganize the code. And yeah, I could have probably done it. But again, AI is way faster than me, so I figure if I can give it a good description, it'll be able to write the code in a similarly cohesive plan. And I'll oftentimes go look through the code and tweak it to my liking. As long as it looks like it's fundamentally correct, I might not like how it performs or how well it works, and I'll tweak it manually. But that's a lot easier to do and a lot less code effort on my part because I don't have to generate the initial start. I can go through and just optimize it. That's kind of the goal, right? So to make it a little bit better, make it cleaner. Sometimes I'll look at it and go, why does it do it this way? And I'll wipe out this or wipe out that and clean it up and make it better. So, like there's certain things I saw down here that it was doing that I wasn't sure. If action is complete, move to the next action, which is fine. So this is a function that's not currently being called, but it's not the end of the world. I guess it doesn't stop it from functioning. But the idea is that this is some kind of a textual generation of what happened in the play. I have to figure out how to make that work. So here's kind of a I don't know how speed is going to work. I'm a little concerned about speed, right? So players that move faster than other players should technically move more than that player. So if two players do a move and one guy's faster than the other, I'm really struggling with that. Speed is going to be a thing. I don't know how to render that. Because I'm doing them all one step at a time, but one player could technically move further than another player on any given step. So it's almost like I have to calculate their time it takes them to cover. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Do you have any suggestions as to how I can implement speed? Let's actually go back and do this. Into this process. Meaning, as designed, everyone moves one step at a time. But the step, technically, if a move action, could be further for some players and for others. Faster players will cover more ground in a new step. I am not sure how best to implement this in my play progress log. Cause see, I can't use time. So I was gonna say, this player is moving 0.001 seconds to cover this time. And another one's going 0.002 seconds to cover this distance. You know, but a player is going faster than other players. So how does that work? I noticed your play progress already has a step speed field that isn't being fully utilized. You can use this to determine how far a player moves in each step. Process a single step for all players. Ooh, he came up with a really meaty solution. Get the current action for this player. Current actions, set target point of coordinates are provided. Get player's speed attributes, scale of 1 to 99. Create a log entry with current step number. Use existing log. Execute the action, check if it's complete. Helper function to get player speed from attributes. Modify the execute route action function signature. Update the function signature to accept the player's speed. Implement progress movement in action functions. For movement-based actions, implement progress movements based on speed. Action, move. Implements the move action with speed-based progressive movement. Get player's current position. You'd need to store this somewhere. Well, yeah. Calculate distance to target. Total distance. Calculate max distance player can move this step based on speed. Speed is on a scale of 1 to 99, normalized to a reasonable grid movement. For example, a player with a speed 50 might move 1 grid unit per step. Max distance per step. Float. If player can reach target in this step. If total distance. Yeah, okay. I like it. I like it. I don't know if it's exactly what I want, but I have to do some math, which is fine. I don't mind doing math. Calculate max distance player on move. I'm just trying to decide how the speed. So basically, what is the question's going to come down to what is the optimal I mean, how fast are different players, right? If a player's range of speed can be from 4,640 to 4,240 or 4 640. What is that in in computer lingo? So it's like, okay, so if I want a guy to cover 40 yards in 4.2 seconds, that's what, 10 yards? That's just barely over 10 yards a second, right? Or just under 10 yards a second. Now, that basically means every player, even the slow ones, can cover one grid space in a second. But if a grid space is 1, if a grid space is equal to the slowest speed, that means a player might be in the next grid space. So he might actually jump 2 grid spaces. But based on the logic of how far he can actually travel, he may not travel a second grid space. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, one guy might cover a grid space in a moment, in a single step, and another one might go a grid space and a half. But either way, it's like, it's very tiny. But it's got to be, you know, a faster player is a faster player regardless. So how fast can you catch up to said defender who's maybe not as fast as you, but you know, he does have a 10-yard head start, but though he's going backwards. Very interesting. I definitely have to try to implement this tomorrow. But for now, it's time to call it. Tomorrow, I implement speed. At least an initial attempt at it. Till then, God bless.